So I'm in Rome and I'm on a mission. Rebecca has told me about a rare bookstore here that might have a first edition of a book by Giordano Bruno, the martyr of science. I've been looking for one of his books for my entire life. He was a radical thinker whose theories threatened the Catholic Church. They ended up ordering all of his books destroyed, so only a few exist anywhere in the world. Giordano Bruno. He was the first one to say that the universe is infinite, and the church did not like any of that. So in 1600, he was burned at the stake right where I'm standing. He's been a hero of mine forever, so I'm going to the store. Hopefully they have it and I can make a deal. If we do, this will be the greatest vacation of my life. Wow. Hello.
Hi, welcome to my bookshop.
Hey, how's it going?
Nice to meet you.
I was recommended to you by a friend of mine, so.
Okay, we have something interesting. My bookstore is a family business and is a bookshop since 100 years. We find all our books in private collections, very well preserved and very, very rare.
What do you got?
We can start an early edition of Machiavelli, The Prince.
That'd be pretty amazing, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, whoa.
No.
So what year is this?
In Venice, 1544.
This is pretty amazing. Every tyrant should read this. This is how you maintain your power. We still use the term in the States. Very Machiavellian. Okay. So how much is something like this?
6,000 euros.
Okay. That's pretty amazing. But the main reason I'm here is I heard you have a first edition Giordano Bruno.
Yes, maybe it's the best piece in my bookshop.
Can I see it?
Sure, it's here, under key. This is the Giordano Bruno.
Ah, Giordano Bruno.
The Giordano Bruno is a very, very rare first edition, printed in 1587. I think there will be 50 copies known. This book is very, very rare.
This is a beautiful edition. This is Latin. The Progress of the Hunter's Lamp of Logical Methods.
Yeah.
This is a small treatise. More on the logical method, the scientific method. For years and years, I've always wanted a book by him. This guy believed that the stars were suns and planets went around them. I mean, this was before telescopes he was coming up with this stuff. And this was forbidden knowledge. You know, he was going against the teachings of the Catholic Church. They ordered all of his books burned.
Yeah.
And to be caught with one of these books, it was a really, really bad thing. They got rid of all the books, and very, very few of them remained. The last one I saw of this that sold was like 1903.
Yeah, I found it, yeah.
God, this is pretty amazing. All right, the big question.
Yeah.
How much do you want for it?
You are American, so let's talk in dollar. 120,000.
I was thinking more like $80,000.
No, I can't. I'm sorry. It's impossible like this.
I mean, what would be your best price?
Let's do 110. It's the best I can do.
You could do 100,000. It's a small book. I will give you $100,000 for it.
Let's do this deal.
All right, $100,000. This has been an amazing day. I am going to go get the wire transfer figured out. I would shop more, but I don't have any more money to spend. It's been an amazing day. I paid a lot for it, but I don't care. This has been something I've been looking for years. And now I'm going to go have a glass of Italian wine and celebrate. Hey, how's it going?
Good, how are you?
Good.
I have a very old first edition Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde book.
Oh, that is cool.
I found it when I was cleaning out my office.
Is your office in like a bank vault?
It's not. I'm here today to sell my first edition Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde book. I don't know much about this book. If it was a love story, I probably would keep it. I'm hoping to get $4,500 for this book. The lowest price I'm willing to take is probably $2,500.
So this is really cool. Robert Louis Stevenson.
Yes, 1886.
You know, arguably, this is his most famous novel. Only a small portion of the population can even recognize an author from the 19th century. If you say Robert Louis Stevenson to any kid in high school, 99.9% of them are going to go, huh?
Right.
Say Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, they know. I remember as a kid seeing cartoons and they had Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde in it.
Right.
I mean, it's sort of ingrained in our culture.
It is. We use the phrase Jekyll and Hyde to describe people with split personalities.
In the 1880s, The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde was an instant bestseller. It spawned hundreds of movies, books, TV shows, you name it, it's out there. If this really is a first edition of the classic, it's going to be worth a lot of money. Did you have an idea what you were looking to get out of it?
I'd like to see if we could come up with a deal around $4,500.
Okay. Let me call up a friend of mine. Let's just make sure it's the first edition. I mean, she literally is like the best book person on the planet. This woman actually believes books are sexy.
Oh, wow, I can't wait to meet her.
So give me a few minutes. I'm gonna go give her a call. I'll get her down here and she'll help us out.
Okay, that sounds good.
Thanks.
I'm a little nervous about the expert coming in because it could be a real first edition or it could be a fake, and I'm hoping for the real.
Good to see you. Hello.
Hi, Rebecca. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you, too.
What do we have?
A book about one of your ex-boyfriends. No. No, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
Oh, I guess that's accurate. I love this book. The book started with a bad dream. Stevenson had, he was having this nightmare and he's like thrashing around and his wife wakes up and he's like, are you okay? And he actually gets mad at her and says, why did you wake me up? I was having this amazing nightmare. This is a book everyone knows. This is part of pop culture that people could relate to. We all kind of have our good side and our bad side, the angel and the devil. And the reason that Jekyll starts becoming Hyde in the first place is that he has some vices he wants to indulge in. He wants to be able to get away with it even though he's a gentleman.
It looks in relatively good shape.
Yes, it's a nice copy. This binding looks to me like it's an early 20th century binding, which on the one hand is nice because it's a fragile book, but on the other hand, for this particular book, it presents a problem.
Oh, that's not good.
Because it's been rebound, you've taken off the original cover, so this is all right for it to be a first edition. But I can't determine for certain without those covers if it's a first batch printed. If it were a first in those wrappers, you'd be looking at something more along the lines of 8,000, maybe even a little bit more. That being said, this is still a first edition, okay? And as a first edition, I still would place it around 4,000.
Okay.
Okay?
Sweet.
All right.
You're the
Thanks,
best.
Rick. In this case, you're missing the original paper covers to determine if it's part of the first batch printed. But I kind of hope Rick negotiates a deal with this one. I think it's a great book. I don't think I'll have a hard time selling it at all.
I mean, what are you willing to take for it?
After what I learned, I think 3,000 would be a great number.
I can tell you what, I'll give you 2,500. I mean, as far as books go, I think it'll sell really quick, but I'm not gonna be able to get more than it's worth.
Would you be willing to do 28?
I'll tell you what, I'll give you 2,700 for it. I think it's more than fair. It really is my final offer. Can you do 27?
Yeah, I think so.
Cool.
It's a good deal.
I'll meet you right over there and we'll do some paperwork.
Okay. I'm taking the offer of $2,700 because, quite frankly, $2,700 is much better than having a book.
What do we got here?
I have a first edition Mark Twain that I'd like you to look at.
Okay, a Yankee in King Arthur's Court. So have you ever read it?
No, I haven't read this one.
All right, have you ever seen any of the movies?
No, never seen any of the movies. I came down to the pawn shop today to sell my first edition Mark Twain, A Yankee in King Arthur's Court. My dad gave it to me about a year ago. The book's 125 years old. Seems cool. I mean, the story sounds interesting. I think my dad will be okay if I sell it today.
Have you ever read any Mark Twain?
Yeah, I read Huckleberry Finn and Tom Sawyer, both those in English class.
Did you like them?
I did, yeah. But I've heard that those books weren't originally intended for children.
I don't think they were either. My 10-year-old son just had to read Tom Sawyer, and it was tough reading for him because the vernacular had changed so much over the years.
I can imagine.
Mark Twain is born in Nevada. Did you know that?
I did not. I would have thought he was a Southerner from the books that he wrote.
Yeah, Samuel Clemens was born in Missouri. But when he was in Virginia City, Nevada, that's when he started taking up the pen name Mark Twain. So here in Nevada, we can say Mark Twain was born in Nevada. I think it's really, really cool. And the amazing thing is it's a first edition. You don't see a lot of first edition Mark Twains. The book is about a guy named Hank, I think, and he was an engineer at a munitions factory. He gets hit in the head and he wakes up in medieval England. It's a true classic, and if it's a real first edition, there is money to be made here. So where did you get this?
My dad bought it at a antique bookstore about 25 years ago.
Okay. Did he pay a lot for it?
He says he never paid more than $50 for a first edition.
And you're positive it's a first edition?
I think so. I've done a little bit of research, and there's only one copyright date on it, so it looks like it's a first edition to me, but I'm not sure.
Okay. Just so you know, books usually just have one copyright date.
Okay.
If a book is made in 1889, they might make a whole run of them, and then they sell out, and 2 months later, they gotta come out with a second edition. So it's
Okay.
all be in the same year. So what did you want to do with it?
I'm looking to sell it.
Okay, and how much do you want for it?
I'd like $1,500.
Okay, if it's a first edition, it's pretty cool. Some first edition Mark Twains can go for a lot of money. This particular one, I don't know.
Okay.
I have a friend, and she is the ultimate book nerd. She'll figure out if it's first edition, she'll figure out the condition, and she should be able to give us a price.
Okay.
All right, let me give her a call. I'll be right back. Hang out, okay?
I don't really know the value, and mine was kind of a guess, so I hope she says it's worth more than what I'm asking for.
Could you maybe not make that sound when I approach?
She's pregnant.
I could tell. I could tell. Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm glad Rick is here to state the obvious. It's
Okay.
important.
All right, we have Mark Twain.
We do. All right. One of the things that's interesting about Twain with this book, he's a satirical writer and a humorous writer. And he was actually reading about King Arthur. And he started thinking, can you imagine what it would be like? How do you blow your nose if you're in full armor? And he starts thinking about all those practicalities that get taken out of the romanticized versions to show how silly culture can be. Twain was a humorist at heart, but he actually has a big variety. Connecticut Yankee is rather science fiction, whereas Huck Finn and Tom Sawyer are more young adult. And then you actually have travel essays that he was really famous for before that. And what are your concerns?
Well, first off, it's in a little rough shape.
Uh-huh.
And is it a first edition, and what's it worth?
Right, okay. It's actually pretty complex because there were a lot of copies that were being run off, and it was a really disorganized system, this particular publisher. And a good example, let me show you, there's an illustration in here that will show that pretty well. Okay, so you have this caption here, it just says "The King," right? In an earlier state of this, they actually had this little scroll decoration in between the two words, and it obscured them a little bit. So what happened is, as they're kind of doing quality control, they come in and they burnish that away. So you know that the earliest state actually has this sort of problematic caption, and the later states are clean like this. That means that this particular page was printed later in the run than other copies, all right? And that does matter for a collector. You want the earliest state possible, right?
The most complicated collecting ever.
But that's the fun of it. Another thing, on page 72, this book is notorious for, while it was being printed, individual letters and things started kind of falling off, and the type gets dropped, and as a result, in later copies, what you see is sort of spaces right around in this area. And this is actually clean, which means this particular page was printed early in the run.
So that's good?
That is good. So this book has been mixed together with early printed pages and later printed pages.
Okay.
We call that a mixed state.
But how did the early ones and the late ones get in this one?
Accident. It's because they're not just using one press, so it's not all in order. They've got a bunch of different presses going at the same time, and then they just grab sheets from all of them, put them together haphazardly, and if you're lucky as a collector, you have sheets that are all the earliest sheets. That being said, it is still a first edition. So given what state it is and the condition that it's in, I would price it retail $1,200 to $1,300.
Did I tell you she knew everything there is in the world about books?
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
You're the best.
Glad to be of help. If this were just the ideal copy in every way, the earliest state, beautiful condition, you're looking at a few $1,000s more than what I appraised this book at.
I'm tired.
So, what do you want for it?
Well, I started at 15. She says it's worth 13. I trust you. If you're interested in it, just give me a fair price.
I'd give you $700 for it.
Can't do a little bit more?
Oh, really? I just heard, if you trust me, just give me a good price and I'll take it. Yeah, no, I can't. $700.
Not even 800? So I
No,
can...
no, that is a fair price to me. You wanted a fair price. That's what I'm willing to pay.
Well, if 700 is really your best price, then we can do it.
Okay, $700. All right, meet you right up front and I'll write you up.
I feel okay about the deal today. I really wanted 800, but I'd like to see the book go to a happy home, a good collector.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, good. How are you?
Oh, pretty good. What do we got here?
I have a rare first impression, first edition copy of the classic novel Anne of Green Gables.
Okay, pretty impressive. Where'd you get it?
I bought it from an estate auction, actually.
Did you know right away that it was worth money?
I did not. I originally got it from my mom, and then I ended up doing a little bit of research into it and told her sorry. I may end up having to hold on to it and get her something else.
Okay.
I'm at the pawn shop today to try and sell my first impression, first edition classic novel, Anne of Green Gables. It was a cool find just because of the rarity and just how popular the book is and still is to this day. I'm hoping to get $18,000 for the book, and I'm basing that off of just the research that I've done on my own and a couple people that I've talked to that have more knowledge around old books than I do.
Pretty cool book by Lucy Maud Montgomery. I know that she went to school to be a school teacher. She lived up in Canada. She did some writing short stories, a few things like that. And then one day, let's put the short stories to the side. I'm gonna write a novel. I'm gonna write the great, well, I guess in her case would be the great Canadian novel, okay? And she ends up writing this, sends it to multiple publishers. It all gets rejected. A couple years later, she opens up a drawer, dusts it off, starts sending it around again, and it got picked up. And it was like an immediate success. I mean, like right off the bat. It's all about a orphan girl growing up in Canada and her adventures and misadventures and the such. I know this is a very collectible book. The only reason I know about the book is because Mark Twain wrote about the book. He said it was the best children's novel since Alice in Wonderland. So how much do you want for this?
I'm asking $18,000.
Okay. No idea if that's a good price or not. For a modern book, it's in kind of bad shape. 1908 is kind of modern when it comes to books. But you have something here that could be really special. And you tell me it's a first impression of a first edition. I don't know myself.
Sure.
So let me give a friend of mine a call. I'll have her come down. She'll take a look at this, and I'll get her opinion.
That's great.
All right,
Thank
give me
you.
a few minutes.
Appreciate it. Fairly confident that the expert will value the book close to my asking price. I feel confident in my number.
Rebecca, how's it going?
Hey, Rick, how are you?
I am doing great. So what do you think? Anne of Green Gables, first edition.
If it is, I'm really excited because it's a great book. I'm gonna guess you haven't read it.
Nah, not exactly on my list.
Every little girl reads this book. More little boys should read it. It's just a classic. And Lucy Maud Montgomery, one of the reasons she wrote this was because she was really frustrated with the type of girls she was seeing in the literature that she was reading. And that clearly resonated with people because, you know, the book sold tens of thousands of copies, like, just within months.
Okay, did not know that at all.
Okay. There we go. That's what I want.
First edition.
Oh, yeah. The first impression, there were multiple impressions. Impressions like a printing, like a batch, right? And so, you know, you have the first edition batch comes out April 1908, and then essentially every 2 months they're printing new batches. So, you know, by October you're in like the 5th printing or something. The other thing I'm just gonna check out is the condition. We've got what we call a broken hinge, the inside here. So one of the weakest points of a book is the joint or the hinge. It's called the hinge inside, the joint outside. So that is the most common place you're gonna see wear, especially from reading. And a book like Anne of Green Gables was read to death. Scale of 1 to 10, I would probably put this around a 6.
Okay.
It is better than average, but it is not great.
All right.
But it's worth noting, this is an era when you see this books published in multiple colors. And so the fact that this is one of the ones that are in brown, it's slightly scarcer in this particular binding.
Drum roll. What do you think it's worth in the condition it's in?
So in this condition, if I were gonna sell it myself, I would probably price around $17,500.
Yeah, that sounds about fair based off of my research and the people that I've talked to.
All right. I'll let you know what happens.
All right.
Okay. So, what would be your best price?
How about 14,000?
How about 8,000? I don't know if I'm gonna sit on it for a long time.
Would you go 10?
Nope. I'll go like 81.
85?
83?
84?
You paid $5 for it.
More than that. 8,400.
You know what? I'll do 8,400.
That's great. Thank you.
All right, sweet. Meet me right up front. We'll do some paperwork. I'll get you paid.
Perfect. Thank you. This story has a happy ending because I paid $25 for the book and ended up making a deal for $8,400.
Hey, how's it going?
Good, how are you?
Good, what do we got?
I have a first edition of Ken Kesey's One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Okay, I think I did have to read it in school, and I think I just watched the movie.
I have a first edition of Ken Kesey's One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. I'm first and foremost a book collector, and this particular book I found at a library sale. If I sell the book today, I'd like to buy some more books that I can then try to resell.
This is interesting. I know the plot. You had Nurse Ratched and Jack Nicholson's character, R.P. McMurphy. Figured it would be easier to do his time in a mental institution than it would be on the work camp.
Sure.
Eventually, Jack Nicholson freaks out and chokes the hell out of Nurse Ratched. And next thing you know, McMurphy's coming into the room with 2 scars on his head.
Yep.
I'm assuming he got a lobotomy.
Right.
I know the author actually worked in a mental institution at one point. A lot of it came from stuff he had witnessed while he was working there.
Yeah,
Do you mind if I take a look at it?
absolutely.
Where'd you get it from?
This copy I actually purchased at a library sale.
Library sale. There's some fading on the spine and stuff like that, but it doesn't look like there's any real issues with it that I can see.
First editions are notorious for having terrible jackets. This one has a little bit of edge wear, but the colors are still pretty bright on it.
How much are you looking to get out of it?
I'm asking $2,700.
I don't know much about first editions. I know, one word in the entire book could change it from being worth $100 to $100,000. So,
Right.
If you don't mind, I'd like to call my friend Rebecca down to come take a look at it.
Absolutely.
Why don't you hang out and I'll give her a call and
Great.
I'll be back, okay?
Thank you. I'm very happy that an expert will be looking at the book and determining its value and its scarcity.
All right, so what is it?
Supposedly a first edition One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
All right. This is perhaps the epitome of the counterculture 60s book.
Okay.
Kesey actually was a paid volunteer for experiments and then elected to go through electroshock therapy in order to know what it felt like so that he could write about it.
Ah, the good old 60s. So how do we know it's a first edition?
With this book, there are known points, sort of little details that we look for. 2 of them are on the dust jacket, the original price, $4.95, and the blurb by Jack Kerouac. And then there are a couple changes to the text that had to be changed after some legal troubles. A lot of the characters in here are based on people that he knew, which got him into trouble. So here we go, on page 9. Sometimes it's a clutch of grade school teachers being led on a tour by that fool Red Cross woman. That was changed in later editions. And so everything checks out in terms of it being a first edition.
Okay.
So let's take a look at the condition of this. We've got some water damage. The next thing I'd like to do, if you don't mind, can I take this out of the Mylar?
Absolutely.
Okay, this translucent plastic wrap. It protects the book, but it also hides the book This is some pretty major damp staining. But from the front, it doesn't look bad at all. In the business, we would say it shows well.
So what's it worth?
Copies will go for $7,500, and then they'll go all the way down, depending on condition. With the issues that we're seeing with the dust jacket and the damp staining, I would expect to see it retail for something around $1,750.
Sounds good to me. I appreciate it, Rebecca. Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep.
So, you heard the boss lady. Mm-hmm. I'd like to offer you $1,000 for it.
Well,
You bought it at a library auction, so I'm assuming you probably paid $1 for it.
that should not be a consideration.
Trust me, I've used the same line myself 100 times.
It's a very scarce book, but given that it's in good shape and it's such a seminal countercultural book, I'd like to get $1,500.
I'll go $1,200.
Okay, I think I'll take it.
All right, deal. Now you got to tell me what you paid for it at the library sale.
Got it for $1.
Man, meet me over there.
All right.
Hey, how's it going?
Not too bad.
So what do you got here?
I've got a first edition book, The First Man in the Moon by H.G. Wells. It's a sci-fi book from 1901, I believe.
Yeah, you know, I've just never really been a science fiction guy either. The First Men in the Moon? I thought you were gonna say Neil Armstrong.
No. I'm at the pawn shop today, and I'm looking to sell my first edition H.G. Wells, The First Man in the Moon. I'm looking to sell this book because it doesn't really fall into what I actually collect. I actually collect pre-1900s Bibles, and so I'm hoping that this piece will actually add to somebody's collection that's truly into it. I'm hoping to get $4,000 for my first edition, The First Man in the Moon book.
This is pretty cool, man. Tell me where you got it.
I got it at a sale in Topeka, Kansas. A library had been given to a Masonic temple there, and when they sold the building, they had a sale, and I purchased it then.
H.G. Wells, I'm not really all that familiar with him. I know he was a really, really prominent writer. He wrote The Time Machine, War of the Worlds. Obviously, he wrote this one. It's considered one of the first sci-fi classics. I wish I knew more about him, quite honestly. So what are you looking to do with it?
I'm looking to sell it.
And what are you looking to get out of it?
I'd like to get $4,000 for it.
Okay, I don't know if that's out of the realm of possibility here, actually. The fact that you say it's a first edition tells me it could be worth a lot of money. It's over 100 years old. I mean, it looks like it's in really, really good condition, especially since it was from a library. But when it comes to stuff like this, I know just enough to get me in a whole lot of trouble. My friend Rebecca's in town. This is her whole thing that she does here is old books, rare books. You mind if I give her a call?
Yeah, no, it sounds great.
All right, do me a favor, hang out. I'll be back in a few, okay?
All right, appreciate it. I'm hoping the expert will actually tell me that because of the condition of it, it's even more valuable than I anticipated.
He's got a first edition, H.G. Wells, The First Men in the Moon. I literally almost thought it was about Neil Armstrong. I just don't know enough about it.
Well, this is actually the groundwork for the people who were inspired to get Neil Armstrong on the moon. Wells meant to say, okay, here are the possibilities. This is the fantasy and the excitement and the adventure of space. And Wells was such a great storyteller that he sold many, many, many copies, and he was able to put a lot of really deep philosophical and scientific ideas into his novels that people read as adventure stories. And that inspired an entire generation of scientists leading up into the space race.
Okay, well, he says it's a first edition. Do you mind taking a look at it for me?
All right, so yes, we've got our Bowen Merrill. This is a US publisher. H.G. Wells is British. One thing that's interesting about this time period was that the US did not have great copyright laws with other countries, and you had to get a book actually printed in the United States in order to secure copyright. So even though he's a UK author, he had to make sure he didn't get pirated. So this one is, in fact, harder to find and technically takes priority over the London edition.
And he said it came from a library, which is just, like you said, shocking.
It actually came from 2 libraries. So first, you have what we call the book plate, the sort of ownership label of a private collector, and then you have what we might call an institutional library marking. One of those is perfectly fine on the collectible market because they tell a little bit about the history, the provenance of the book. The institutional library marking is trickier, though, because it tends to mean books get handled a lot. You know, when you're checking out a library book, you don't necessarily take as good of care of it.
Right.
And this is in nice shape, considering that it is ex-library. But the word ex-library is kind of deadly in rare book collecting.
Not something I was aware of.
Yeah, it is something, it's a really 20th century thing, so if you collect earlier than that, it doesn't come up nearly as much.
I see.
So what do you think it's worth?
So if it were beautiful and we weren't talking about ex-library, it could be $2,000 in a retail environment. But given that you've killed the collector demand by the ex-library, it's probably more like $750. Not what you wanted to hear.
Not exactly what I was hoping you were going to say today.
I understand.
All right, well, thank you for everything you do.
Yep. Glad I could be of help to
Thank you.
one of you at least.
I appreciate it.
All right, take care.
So you heard what she said, you know, and I trust her completely. To find a book collector that would be into this, that would have to be kind of like somebody new to collecting books who doesn't know about the whole library thing yet. So I'd have to offer you like $200.
No, I mean, I'd probably do 1,000, but that'd be the best.
Well, I don't see us making a deal, man. I'm always here, man, if you ever change your mind, okay?
All right, I appreciate it.
Take care.
Thanks. Well, I was kind of shooting for the moon today with my asking price, it turns out, but it'll still be a great part of my collection, and I'm looking forward to hold on to it for now.
Hey, how's it going?
Goes well.
What do we got here?
A 1914-1915 panoramic road map to Southern California.
Okay, back when you can actually drive around L.A.
Exactly, yeah. I'm at the pawn shop today looking to sell a 1914 panorama automobile map book. It's the first edition. The book has about 180 illustrations in it. It also includes a lot of really interesting 1914 automobile advertisements. I'd like to get $900 for my 1914 panoramic map book of Southern California.
Really kind of cool for something for Southern California at that time period. You know, air travel was really in its infancy there, and you had the railroads that would bring you to places, and we were starting to expand into there because of the Panama Canal. It was almost like being in a foreign country when you got there. So if your job sent you out to work in LA or the Southern California area, you know, something like this would really come in handy. People wanted to know what to do when they got there, what they should see, what they should know about, and it was kind of a roadmap or a destination guide to Southern California. Tell me a little bit about where you got it.
This has been in my family since 1914. My grandfather picked it up. It spent a year or two in their glove compartment, and then it's been on bookshelves at our house ever since then.
Do you mind if I take a look at it?
Oh, I wish you would.
So this right here is what makes it panoramic, the fold-out maps.
The maps are really interesting. They are an aerial perspective. They're all hand-drawn, and it'll say, turn left at the oak tree or turn right at the white barn.
Or big rocks near Escondido. I mean, as far as condition goes, it's pretty good. I mean, you know as well as I do, I got stuff in my glove box I haven't touched since I bought my car. So what are you looking to do with it?
I'd like to sell it. I'd like to sell it for $900. This is the one and only. First edition, last edition.
Okay.
It's rare.
I mean, it's definitely old. It's something super unique. I feel like there's a whole lot of these out there. I mean, I'd offer you about $300.
Yeah, I couldn't go that low. 800.
Could I get you to meet me around 4?
The lowest I could go on it is 750.
All right, well, I appreciate it. My offer stays the same if you ever want to come back, okay?
Be happy to. I think the offer was way low. The map is still good. I'd be happy to loan it out if anybody wants to travel Southern California.